Meeting to order. Roll call, please.
No.
Roll call. No, afterwards.
Mr. Allen? Mr. Bowman? Miss Bowman?
Here.
Miss Boyle? Mr. Feather?
Here.
Miss Hollenbach? Mr. Kovitz?
Present.
Mr. Marrington? Mr. Paratano?
Present.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Thank you. There is a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, and matters related to school safety and security. The district mission statement: the Neshaminy community builds futures by empowering each child to become a productive citizen and a lifelong learner. Any announcements?
There are no sign-ups.
Any announcements?
No. There are no announcements.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I want to report out on a couple of things that are included in my superintendent's report this month. One is the ELECT grant. I just think it's worth making sure that we as a community recognize that Neshaminy has led the county for the last 20 years in the ELECT grant. The ELECT grant is education leading to employment and career training. For us to lead a countywide initiative for youth looking to obtain high school diploma or GED throughout the county who are in difficult circumstances. So that grant is for $307,000, and thanks to the work of Mr. Devlin and People Services and people out of our People Services Department for the support they provide across the county. Coaches versus Cancer, a 6th annual Maple Point event. Last year they raised $15,000. This year the goal is $20,000. It's coming up Friday, March 8th, right here at Maple Point. We hope to see a lot of people out. The money goes and donated to the American Cancer Society. We have a whole slew of good sports events to report out on in the winter. The relay team for our swimming broke a record. Previous record was held here, and the team, I can't even do the 4 names there. They give me the 4 hardest names in the high school. Do you know them?
Is that a school record?
Go ahead.
School records?
Dan Sigadaga, and Ray Pasuti.
High school girls 100 freestyle event. Emily Collier broke a 26-year-old record held by a Hall of Famer here, Chrissy DiLeonardo. Girls basketball are the Suburban 1 League champions. We have 2 seniors who broke 1,000 points scoring for their careers, Allison Harvey and Brooke Mullen. And the team now is playing in District 1 playoffs. They play tomorrow at 6 o'clock in Bensalem. If they win, they play for Division 1 this weekend at Temple on Saturday. Wrestling team, they were the Suburban runner-up leagues, but the seniors Jackson Erb and Colton Jordan both eclipsed the 100-win mark for their careers. Winter track, Savian Hebron is going to be invited to come out here next month because he is the state 200-meter dash champion. I was excited, like if I could beat somebody from pole to pole in Northeast Philly on my block. And that never happened. He's the state 200-meter champion, so that's phenomenal for him. Congratulations. Pequessing wrestling at the middle school, 11-0 again this year, back-to-back undefeated seasons. And Maple Point basketball's on a roll. The girls are undefeated champions this year. The boys currently playing are still undefeated, so congratulations to them. Gym night's coming up on Friday here at the high school. Friday, March 1st starts the annual event. We'll start an exciting weekend here and looking forward to the competition. We're beginning a 1920 planning session here at the school on a couple different fronts. One is that the governor announced that there may be more money available for schools and others in the community to provide for preschool education. As many of you know, Neshaminy has enhanced the preschool opportunity significantly, now providing for 120 seats. Over $1 million worth of state funding comes here to us to do that. More money is going to be available for next year. We're hopeful because of the governor's budget that was just recently announced. And if, in fact, that money is available, we'll seek more seats for Neshaminy area residents and their children. We are also planning the 1920 school year for our students already, believe it or not, and meeting with their parents. So parents of 8th graders have already met with our administrators. Parents of 11th graders planning that 12th grade year experience. They, too, have had a special meeting. And our administrators are meeting with students to describe the options available for them in that high school high school years. Schweitzer Science Project. We've had some elementary presentations here at the board this year. Schweitzer is involved in a project-based learning activity about climate change that allows for them to connect through the internet with some real science data that's being collected nationally. And so the students will be actually processing, and they've labeled a float the Schweitzer lion, the one that they're watching for climate observation. There's a wonderful story about the Everett reunion that took place where 17 of 22 students from Mr. Murga's class back in 1978 returned for a reunion. And that story was actually captured and picked up into People magazine. So congratulations to the effort there to publicize that fun event. And then finally, I want to talk about snow days. We will next month adjust our calendar, but right now we're not anticipating, even though we had 2 snow days, that it'll impact students. We're looking to actually incorporate a couple of professional development days at the end of the year to adjust for snow. That'll all be finalized, and hopefully with no more snow, we can get to March and adjust that calendar officially. But again, it could snow at the end of March or early April, and then we may be back again in April again. I do want to thank our facilities and operations people. They have a hectic day to begin with, each and every day. The snow presents great challenges, and they do wonderful work keeping both our vehicular traffic and our pedestrian traffic safe as they move about our school properties. And I want to thank them for the last couple of days that we had snow events. And in my board report, there's a wonderful picture of the crew that was out here on the Maple Point parking lot doing some great work. And so thank you. Thanks to all of our people who help out in that front. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. This brings us to the first public comment period. I understand no one has signed up for the first public comment period?
Correct.
Okay, since we have a... Okay,
The sign-up sheets are,
over
In
there.
the
Okay,
corner.
fine. If anyone didn't know the sign-up sheet was over there and wants to approach the podium and speak, except if you do it every meeting. No, Steve, go ahead. And for those who don't know, just Steve will show you how to do it. You give your name, where you live, where you reside, and your occupation, and you have to hit the button.
Yes. Okay. Thank you and good evening. I'm Steve Rodas. I live in the villages of Flowers Mill in Langhorne. And I had 3 items that I want to discuss this evening. First is I am still pretty embarrassed by the school board stance and hands-off position when it comes to the school district symbol at football games and also as its logo. This is a decision which should be made by the board. It is nowhere nearly as important as the 2 most recent decisions that affected residents, and I refer specifically to the closing of elementary schools and moving the 5th grade into the middle schools. I was in full support of these decisions because they made sense, both economically and educationally. Over the years, however, the meanings of words change, and it is time for the Neshaminy School District to change with the times. My second point is lately there have been articles in newspapers regarding the later start times for high school students. And I'd like the district to investigate both the benefits to students to be derived from starting high school an hour later, and the costs involved. It's something that many school districts are moving towards because at least the students are awake in the first and second periods. Now, finally, in this season of contracts with staffs, both teachers and support staffs, I urge you to take care of those who take care of Neshaminy. They all do their jobs and deserve really some good consideration on what they are asking for in their requests for contracts. So with having said that, I thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else who didn't sign up, didn't realize you had to sign up? Okay. There is a second public comment period towards the end of the meeting, too, if something comes to your mind. All right, that brings us to routine matters. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 2.01, the minutes, 2.02, treasurer's report, 2.03, check register and procurement card purchases, 2.04, budget transfers, 2.05, investments, 2.06, exonerations. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Comments or questions?
I'd just like to add that it's great to see that we're now have short-term money making 2.5% interest, which just some months ago we were getting under 1%. So things are looking up from that perspective.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Personnel Administrative, Mr. Piratano.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Be it resolved that the Neshaminy School Board of School Directors hereby approves the appointment of Thongas Keokim. We call him Anthony, just for reference, as facilities supervisor at a salary of $70,000, prorated for the current 2018-2019 school year to begin when released from his current assignment and contingent upon submission of approved clearances. Be it further resolved that Mr. Kokham's salary for the 2019-2020 school year will be $70,000. May I have a second?
Second by Mrs. Bowman. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Personnel certificated. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 4.01, leaves of absence, 4.02, revised leaves of absence, 4.03, revised returns and leave, 4.04, appointments, 4.05, co-curricular appointments, 4.06, ancillary appointments. Can I get a second? Second one, Mr. Allen. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Personnel support, Mrs. Hollenbeck.
I'd like to make a motion to approve items 5.01, retirements, resignations, end of assignments, 5.02, leaves of absence, 5.03, revised returns from leave, 5.04, appointments, 5.05, co-curricular resignations, 5.06, co-curricular appointments, and 5.07, ancillary appointments.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Piratano. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Item 6, educational development, Mrs. Boyle.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6.01, which is 2019-2020 local school district holidays. 6.02, settlement agreements. 6.03, overnight trips. 6.04, home instruction. And 6.05, out-of-district placements.
Can I get a second? Second, Mr. Kovitz. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. 7, business operations.
We're pulling out the
We're pulling out
right.
7.02, the approval of the 2017-18 audit, and 7.04.
7.02 is not being
It's not being presented tonight, so we're
presented
not
tonight
voting on it.
since the auditor called out sick.
He's sick.
He's sick.
And 7.04
We're reading
will
that
be
separately.
reading that
because
separately,
it's a
yeah.
donation.
7 point, we don't have to read it separately. If you want it, if you want it read separately, we could read it.
I asked this in the meeting.
We talked about it in the back room, though.
So 7.02 is tabled and 7.04 I am reading separately. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve 7.01, the BCIU number 22, 2019-20 Program and Services and Instructional Materials and Research Services Budget. 7.03, the Master Services Agreement, Safe to Say Something, and 7.05, Sunday Facility Usage.
Can I get a second?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Allen. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 9-0.
7.04, acceptance of donation. Whereas the Armour family has offered to donate $6,300 to be combined with the $63.60 and 19 cents budgeted by the Neshaminy High School Athletic Department towards the purchase of a baseball scoreboard valued at $12,860.19. And whereas this donation to the Neshaminy School District for the scoreboard will allow for the installation at the baseball field complex at Neshaminy High School. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy School Board of School Directors hereby approves the aforementioned donation from the Armour family.
Can I get a second? Second, Mr. Kovitz. Comments or questions? Agreed. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 9-0. Anyone have any other board business? This is the second public comment period. Anyone who wants to, wishes to say something can approach the podium and follow Mr. Rodis's cue. Okay. That brings us to the,
My name's Tim Locke. I live in Quincy Hollow, and I'm currently serving a long-term sub position in security at the high school. Earlier, you guys mentioned in executive session the topic of safety, and seeing some of my colleagues from where I spend 3 hours of my day in the cafeteria, I think you should consider tinting the windows in the cafeteria for obvious reasons. When you're in the hallway outside of Gym 3, you can clearly look over and see anybody in that cafeteria. And you can get on the school grounds and just make your way over there, and anything can happen. I think it's an easy fix. You can spend that 2 point whatever % you made on your money. And these women talk, every day we sit out there, we look at the window, and we are amazed that it's not tinted where you can't see in and can see out. So everybody's making their wish list for their facilities money. I think it's something that you should consider doing sooner rather than later. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Karen Gabriel. I work for Neshaminy, driving a school bus, and I live in Pendel. I'm not going to badge or whatever, but I want you to think. Some of you know me, some of you don't. 4 years ago, my brother-in-law was the one that was killed at Sylvie Concrete because Sylvie wanted to save a buck. So I'm asking you, please, for all of us here, think before you do your budget and everything else. Look at us. We have the kids on the bus. These ladies here work with the kids, feeding them. Sometimes they don't have all the food to feed them. Our buses need to be updated too, because I don't want anybody to go through what my family's still going through. So that's all I'm asking, if you can really look when we do our contract. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, that brings us to the board comment period.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Just real quick, I want to say hello to a friend in the audience, a former school board member, Frank Koziel, who I seen peek in there. It's good to see you, Frank. It's been a long time. Nice to have you back in the room. And thank you to the Armour family for their generous support of the baseball scoreboard at the high school. That's a very generous donation. So thank you, and I want to thank all the members of our support staff who came out to join us this evening. Thank you.
I too wanted to thank the Armour family. My boys play baseball, so I think that's an awesome thing that the high school is going to be getting a new scoreboard. I also wanted to wish all of the students at the high school good luck for gym night. Go Blue.
I'll just lend my support to that. Gym night is it's a great time around here in Neshaminy, and you know, every other school district, they don't get us. You know, we start talking about gym night, they're like, "Isn't that like Spirit Day?" I'm like, "No, you just don't get it." Awesome. But it's a fantastic weekend for the our community, and I wish everyone joy and good luck to both teams. Go Blue.
I also wanted to just reiterate some of the sentiments by my colleagues. I think we have a lot to be thankful for here in the district. There aren't too many, I think, like this district. It's amazing that you have folks like the Armour family that come forward and generously donate. We have some amazing organizations and just families around here that like to give back, and that's something that you can't put a price tag on. And I think that's wonderful. I love that. I love that. The gym night, it's just one of those things that unless you experience it, you just don't know. And then lastly, of course, I always appreciate when folks from NESPA come out. My mother worked heavily back in her day with bus drivers and the mechanics and stuff like that. I have fond memories of going to visit her over there. So I know it's folks such as yourself that see our kids on a daily basis, and that doesn't. I don't think it goes unappreciated by any of us here on the board, especially not through me either. So thank you for being here.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, I too would like to thank the Armour family for their donation, and actually I would like to thank Mr. Locke for his recommendation. We do have a facilities meeting on March 13th at Sandburg, and we will bring that idea up to the facilities director. I think it's a very, very good idea. So. Reach out to Smoking Moe's for us. Okay. If nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye. I'm not even going to ask. Meeting adjourned.